You want to be on top? It's not just a question that strikes fear into every closet bottom who puts versatile in their Grindr bio. From 2003 to 2018, it was also the mission statement for one of the most visible reality competitions on the planet, America's Next Top Model. Hosted by Tyra Banks, we'll forget that Rita Ora season, thanks, and running for 24 seasons spread over 3 networks, ANTM was at one time a ratings juggernaut, broadcast globally, and even had roughly 50 international spin-offs of its own. The franchise has cast over 1,000 wannabe models and launched the careers of a handful of legitimately successful ones, although few of those actually won their seasons. But pretty people taking pretty photos was honestly secondary to what truly made America's Next Top Model famous, and in more recent years, infamous. What had us coming back week after week, cycle after cycle, was the drama mama and the utterly wacky photo shoots and runways through which Tyra would challenge the contestants. So for this special Patreon-sponsored episode, the Great Pop Culture Debate wants to know, what is the best America's Next Top Model photo shoot? This is my signature podcast, and this is what's going to make me famous.
Oh, Eric, no.
I'm your host, Eric Rezsnyak. Please welcome my panel, all of whom originally won the All-Star season, but were disqualified off camera for being whores. Our first panelist was a swirl with a stiffness. It's Bob Erlenback.
Eric, can we wrap this up? I'm late for my photo shoot with world-renowned fashion photographer Gilles Ben-Simon.
Ladies, it was gorgeous. Next, we were rooting for her. We were all rooting for her. It's the Patreon sponsor of this episode, Kathy Kingsley.
Is this not America's Next Top best friend?
Kathy, I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. That's a lie. And finally, he's so happy for the petite season of this podcast so he can finally participate. It's Ryder Nguyen.
I just want you to know that people have wars in that country.
Have I got a makeover for you, Ryder? Have you ever heard of a beard weave? So, how does this work? Since this was a mini-sode, there was no public poll. Our panelists went through the photo shoots of the 24 cycles of America's Next Top Model and made their own personal top 20s. We compared notes, consulted with our social media manager, Brian Boy, and created a top 16 of our overall favorite shoots. Now we argue about it and insult each other, all for your amusement. Want to play along at home? Go to greatpopculturedebate.com and find the polls and brackets tab. There you'll find the listener bracket for this and every episode. Make a copy for yourself, fill it out, and see if your picks line up with ours. Also, as a side note, we will put up links to each of the photo shoots that we'll be discussing, so you can actually see these as we're talking about them. And hopefully I'll remember to do that before the episode goes live. We'll see how that works out. Before we start with the actual debates, I do want to ask my panelists, what were some of the photo shoots that you were surprised did not make the top 16 bracket? Bob, I'm going to start with you.
Well, for me, any of the, I don't know if we can qualify them as photo shoots, but any of the commercial shoots, most specifically, I think Cycle 6 with the, I think it was maybe Lash Blast Mascara or some shit like that. Bullshit. Sure, one of those CoverGirl lashy blasty thingies. But they were supposed to be at like a cocktail party walking. It was supposed to be movement and interaction. And Jade, if you remember Jade's performance in that commercial, it is epic. It's fabulous and twirling and how you doing? It's so. And then she gets up to the camera and she's like, what is this I'm holding again? Jesus, it is absolutely crazy. The commercials could not be more ridiculous, and that's one that sticks out in my brain. But really, all of them stick out in my brain. But really, that's the one I would pick because Cycle 6 is my favorite cycle ever. But also Jade is crazy.
I do think it is the best cycle of all of them. This is a debate.
It was my jump on point for the whole series, and without that, I don't think I would have stuck with it. Like, for me, looking back on it, I saw a lot of seasons, and that's the one that I always go back to and is like, that's a really fucking good season.
It is. And it's not even that it has the best models, because there's a lot of trash in the first half of the season. But like the ones who go deep are really great. And the personalities that season are amazing. I
mean, I fell in love with it when Kathy took her skirt off right in the crowd of girls. Right? Like, what the hell?
Icon. And speaking of Kathy's, but not the Kathy who dropped trowel on national television. Actually, I don't know your life, Kathy. Maybe you have.
The years are young.
What photo shoots are you surprised didn't make the top 16?
So my jumping on point was Cycle 4, and I think the 7 Deadly Sins photo shoot was one that was a really strong one for photos, but also really interesting because of the timing of it. Just because Kaylin had that death that she was dealing with, and so there was drama around it, but also the photo shoot was just bonkers. Like Michelle looking like a drag queen on acid, like she just looked insane. But some of the photos were really great, and Kaylin like knocked it out of the park. Her and Naima, and I would say arguably Danielle and Joni in Cycle 6 were like two of the top twos in my book.
Yeah, another good potential episode of people like this one is like the best final twos from Top Model, because there are some great ones, honestly. I would say the Petite Cycle also is a very strong top two. Yeah. Regarding Cycle 4, I will say it does not get a lot of love on this bracket. I think there's only one nominated photo shoot from it. That was also my first season to watch live. And so I had this similar experience that you did. What a ride that one was, man. Any other ones from you, or?
The other one that sticks out to me was Cycle 6, the Venus Vibrance Razor or whatever it was, when they got to shoot on top of elephants, when Danielle was I live for the ones where they're like, the photos are good, but there's also like some drama or story behind it, because honestly, that's why we watch Top Model, isn't it?
Bitch was dehydrated. Wasn't that the one where she was like sick death?
Yes.
Yeah. She like left the hospital against medical advice and rocked the photo shoot. So, good on her.
Also, Sarah allegedly stole Joni's
Stole
pose.
the looks. Stole the poses. Stole
Also
the
the
poses.
poses, that's right.
Exactly.
She did. We
They were
watched it live.
Scandalized.
She's a swirl with a stiffness, folks.
She is. Sarah was affected. Go for it, Bob.
By her height.
Thank you. Shout out to the Swirl Twins, at least one of whom is dead. Rest in power. That's what I have to say. Ryder, what about you? Any photo shoots that you were surprised didn't make the top 16?
I think a lot of my favorite shoots are probably in Cycle 12. Just also because I'm obsessed with Alison Harvard. Because just her look. But I really like, the face paint one made the bracket.
Yes.
And then I think I'm also really like when they shot like on the bus, like went around like New York City and played stereotypes. Yep. I also love that one. And when they moved to, where did they go international that season?
God. Was it South Africa?
No.
I'm not sure. But like one of the shot was like Carmen Miranda, and it was very cool.
I think it was Brazil.
Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. Also another was probably the first Guys and Girls season.
Yep, so that's 20.
Yeah. So one photo shoot that stuck with me was like one that they throw paint and then they have it shot like live and everything was moving.
The motion capture one, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Those are really cool shots.
Yeah. And I just didn't see any of those like in the bracket for like any moving shots or things like that. But
I don't know I think there's only one Guys and Girls season that has, and it's Cycle 21, which is by far considered the worst of the Guys and Girls seasons, that made the bracket. I am thankful to Tyra for giving us the Guys and Girls seasons 20 through 22, because if nothing else, it introduced us to my boyfriend, Niall. He doesn't know he's my boyfriend, but there are actually some great photo shoots, especially in the Niall season, and I'm surprised that they did not make it, but what can you do?
On that note, the Models and Moms photo shoot I found really endearing, and also the photos I thought turned out great in that one.
Yes. I also
and nobody got eliminated, I don't think, right?
I don't think they did. And I also loved the dog photo shoot where they were paired with the dogs that look like them. I thought there were some very striking images out of that one. I will say that for me, I tried to keep my nominations to one per cycle, and I think that was probably what kept a lot of mine off of the list. And it was probably a stupid move because not all cycles are created equal. Some of them have many great shoots, and then others have like nothing. And I'm looking at you, Cycle 18 and Cycle 20. But as stupid as it was to have the Cycle 10 girls dressed up in meat bikinis, yes, bikinis literally made out of raw meat. The meat pocking photo shoot in season 10 was fierce. There were some great photos that came out of that. Speaking of Cycle 12, I'm surprised, Ryder, you didn't mention the exotic bird photo shoot, which had some gorgeous shots.
Right. Also, I noticed, no. Like none of the black and white like photo shoot show up on the bracket.
Like the Tyra ones where they were like very
crying. Cycle 6.
Yeah.
emoting.
Or like
Spooky, sexy.
7 when they were doing like creepy, like dark features. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess for me, and as we go along, we'll talk about our individual rubric for this. I tended to like the ones that were more heavily produced because they were just like something I would see in a fashion magazine or like a ridiculous fashion magazine. But that's why I agree with you. There's not a lot of the black and white, like quote unquote, simple shots. And then finally for me, the Cycle 16 photo shoot with live bees, which I just thought was like, draw and underline it. Like, let's put these girls in actual physical danger. Here, wear terrible makeup and jewelry and stand in a tent with live bees. Let's see what happens. Like, this is what we miss at a top model. With that, let's get on to these actual debates. First up, a unanimous victory for Cycle 1's snake photo shoot, for which we had more passion than Cycle 21's MCM at the Seoul City Hall shoot. Next up, the majority of the panel prefers Cycle 11's Fierce Eyes photo shoot, but Kathy just loved it when they let them shop and wants to go with Cycle 15's Rodeo Drive. Kathy, whip out your black MX and get some retail therapy for Rodeo Drive. I will explain why Cycle 11's eyes have it. Kathy, why don't you go first?
So my rubric was kind of based on the photo shoot concept and kind of based on the results. And in this one, I think the results were really strong. The concept itself was pretty basic and straightforward, but they had a really amazing, well-known, obviously, photographer in Patrick Demarchelier, and I think Lori Goldstein was a stylist on that. And obviously those are huge names in the fashion industry. At least from my pitiful knowledge of the fashion industry. But I thought all the photos in that one came out strong. And there were 3 photos for each girl. One where they were walking down the street, one where they were like running and jumping, and then like one beauty shot that they just used for panel. And I think there were really only like 2 or 3 photos out of all of them that I thought were bad. The other part of criteria that I used for this was, did it create like a memorable moment for me, either during the photo shoot or during panel? And I just have this image of Tyra like trying to recreate Anne walking / bouncing during panel. And it's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. So I'm okay with this one going down to Fierce Eyes, but I do think it was a really strong photo shoot.
Tyra Banks at panel is a masterclass in buffoonery. Like, we have never had a judge on any of these shows ham it up to the level that Tyra did. And God bless her for that. She gets a lot of shit, and some of it is justified. I'm not trying to say it's not. But like, Tyra was entertaining on that panel. That one Rita Ora season, it was like death. Like, Tyra guest starred in one episode. It was like, oh my God, please come back. All is forgiven. Like, you're so much better. But yeah, you're right. Those moments in panel, I immediately go to the Cycle 6. Here we go again. In the incredibly high shoes runway walk channel.
Oh my God.
Like, watching her face as girl after girl possibly like does life-threatening damage to their legs. Like, Tyra being like, what have we done? Like, you can see it. She's just questioning all of her choices. Amazing.
I see her like looking off camera going like, we made them sign a contract that this is okay, right?
We have indemnity, correct? We can behead them if we want. Shoes are not a big deal. Yeah, just checking.
So I guess they've been putting them in danger since the very beginning.
Absolutely, they have. I mean, the snake photo shoot was Cycle 1. And also, like, the very first photo shoot in the entire thing was them in bikinis in, like, sub-zero temperatures outdoors on a New York skyline. Like, they were always being like, hello, pretty girls, let's throw you into actual mortal danger and see what happens. That's reality show, folks. Well, thank you for that, Kathy. I'm going to talk about the Fierce Eyes photo shoot from Cycle 11, and I'll talk a little bit about my rubric. So my things were, number 1, did it have some real wow shots that came out of it? There had to be some shots that like slapped me in the face, like, oh shit, this is like legit. And then also, again, I don't want to use the term buffoonery again, but like the ridiculousness got bonus points. So when it came to Fierce Eyes, I actually was not a fan of this shoot when it was first actually like watching it live. I was like, they're going to cover 90% of the models' bodies in water, and only we're going to see their eyes on the top of their head. This is dumb. But I'm going to do something that Tyra Banks would never do and admit that I was incorrect. So this is a great shoot. Like, as we all know, one of Top Model's main contributions to the pop culture canon was smizing, aka smiling with your eyes. And that is what this shoot was all about. It was like a smize tour de force, and the Cycle 11 girls really delivered. Like, how good were these photos? Even Clark, who struggled in almost every other photo shoot, nailed this one. Incredible photo for her. Fellow struggle bus rider Alina also excelled here. Lauren Brie, one of the all-time great robbed girls of Top Model, destroyed this photo. Leo, I will not use their dead name. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, I urge you to look it up. It's an interesting story. Absolutely stunning photo. Reliable fashion queen Marjorie was solid. Great photo shoot featuring just slivers of the models, which is probably more of a condemnation of Cycle 11 than anything else. But hey, beautiful photos. So let's put this to a vote. Bob, where are you on this one?
I didn't really have a good impression or remembrance of the Rodeo Drive, and I'm wondering if I even got to Cycle 15. Like, I did a lot of research to get myself caught up on a lot of the cycles that I didn't see, and this one just doesn't imprint on me or really make an impact to me in any way. But Fierce Eyes is pretty fierce. I mean, it's in the title of Fierce Eyes, and to me, when you talk about rubric, and I'll get into really part of mine when we get into the next debate, because I do love the wacky buffoonery / craziness that these can have, because results don't always make a big difference to me when I look at these. When you're trying to define what an America's Next Top Model photo shoot really is, like, results are great, but let's talk about the photo shoot as a whole and what it brings to television and reality television. But the other piece to that is, that's the one extreme of my rubric, which I guess I got into it, even though I said I wasn't going to. But the other one is these close-up headshots always just really stun me. And again, I think it's the results for this half of it is these close-up headshots, and there's several of them across our bracket. Did they just really make an impact? And I think Fierce Eyes did that, and I think it helps to separate the good models from the bad models in a lot of the cases, because they really need to work, because it's just a headshot. And I think they all really did a fantastic job in this Fierce Eyes. Like, there's very few to critique. And just, I think the overall setting that they put for it as well was really great. It had like a smoky steam. It's all black. It's just really, really, it makes an impact pretty well. So that's my long way around to getting to Fierce Eyes. That's
okay. I will say, going through all those photos, there were like 3 that I didn't think were really good. And one of them was hilariously by the winner of that season, McKee, who I really like, by the way, but I did not think she did terribly well in this shoot. Ryder, where are you on this one?
I have to vote for Fierce Eyes, but also Rodeo Drive is one of my favorites. Just have to say it. I think it's also more challenging than Fierce Eyes, and it's very controversial. But like, you have to like do one of those shots when you're actually moving through the air, and then actually look at the camera and not look crazy. So I would give that to Rodeo Drive, but Fierce Eyes is kind of it's iconic just for the fact that it's like smizing. So I think I have to put it forward.
Take a drink. On this podcast, if you say the word iconic, you have to take a drink. I will say, Kathy, one of the issues for me with Cycle 15 is that when I think of it, it's like, it's the Ann season and then everybody else. Because like literally, there was no competition. It was clearly Ann from the get-go. And then and the rest. You know what I mean? So,
and that's fair. Like, and didn't she get like 5 or 6 like first call outs? Like,
I believe.
From the get-go?
Yeah, I believe. Like, if I'd have to check this, and I'm sure there are Top Model historians listening to this being like, "You stupid bitch!" No, but she may have the most top first call outs in a season, not counting All Stars, in Top Model history. That may be true. So. Anyway, it sounds like we are going to move Fierce Eyes forward. Sorry about that, Kathy.
That's okay.
Thank you for being a good loser about it. I was going to make an Angelique joke. We're not going to do that because I don't want to get sued. Next, it's 2 Cycle 7 shoots, as 75% of the panel wants more big tops and seeks to push forward the Circus Freak shoot, but Ryder is seeing red and wants to push the bullfighting shoot forward. Bob, step right up and explain why these freaks should remain on our leash. Ryder, grab the bull by the horns and push the bullfighting shoot. I'm going to have Ryder go first.
Oh, all right. So I think for just related to my rubric, I think one of them is probably just the production in general and like as a whole. I feel like bullfighting has more of an impact on me because it's also more memorable, and also the way that it's set up with like the background, even though the concept is a little bit less convoluted compared to Circus Freaks, but I think it just has more of a feel to it. On the other hand, Circus Freaks, I feel like it's overdone, if I'm being honest. And like if you going for something dark, like, okay, Circus Freaks is probably one of your top choices. Bullfighting, on the other hand, also they were in Spain. And like you don't see a lot of female matador. So I think it's just more memorable to me, bullfighting.
Yeah, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. Bob, you may tell me I'm wrong, but I don't even think you would disagree that in terms of better photos, that bullfighting has better photos.
If you want to base your rubric off of that, yes, I would have to agree with that.
Yes. However, I suspect Bob is going to tell us why he loves Circus Freaks. Take it away.
Gosh, I just need to know how hard I need to push this because I've got some things.
Okay, do we want to take Kathy? Are you prone to moving on this one, or are you stuck on Circus Freaks?
I like the Circus Freaks better. I know bullfighting obviously for me provokes some memorable moments.
Here's let me just give me this for a second first. Like I think this. I'm thinking about this from an America's Next Top Model photo shoot, and I think they both have components of what we may deem as those things. But when it comes to Circus Freaks, this was one that has that special formula of America's Next Top Model where Tyra is playing on every insecurity of these girls. and that is quintessential to these. And yes, there are, again, we can talk about results, and I think that is important. There are both good and bad results from this, but to me, this really is like a real seed of what Tyra was doing to these girls. And what is an America's Next Top Model photo shoot if it's not 100% problematic? And that's what this is.
It's so true.
She ain't torturing the girls. Like, why bother?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, if this one truly is a tour de force of emotional trauma, and God bless them for that. But Ryder, I will say this: I'm inclined to stick with Circus Freaks as well. However, bullfighting's photos are gorgeous. The styling in that shoot is impeccable. All of them look amazing. I can see them right now in my mind. It's like 10 plus years later, and those hair buns that they have that are very strategically placed, the tailored matador uniforms. I know that the capes were digitally added in after the fact. Doesn't matter. They looked really, really good. And they were all in danger, right? Like there was a live bull in the arena. Also, Nigel Barker was there shooting them. I'm pretty sure that's where Carrie D fought with Nigel. And that was like a whole thing.
Right. It was a whole thing for her.
Like it's a great shoot with beautiful photos. And that was that top 5 for that season?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And so you have Eugenia, you have Melrose, you have Carrie D, you have
Amanda and Michelle.
One twin? Was it both twins?
Both twins, because that was the top
twins.
5.
Okay. Terrific photos. None of those girls took a bad photo. But I agree with Bob that in terms of when you think of top model photo shoots, which is the one that you go back to? I fucking go back to that Circus Freak show. The photos aren't anywhere near as good, but the lunacy. In fact, it has some of the worst photos, but in the best way. So you did a very good job defending bullfighting, and you are correct, actually, Ryder, that it has better photos. But in terms of the shoot, I'm giving it to Circus Freaks. Is that acceptable?
Fair. Yep.
Great. All right, so we will move Circus Freaks on to round 2. Another 3/4 split, as the majority of the panel prefers Cycle 8's nude candy shoot, but Ryder sees greener pastures for Cycle 14's New Zealand sheep shoot. Kathy, explain why you're still sweet on Cycle 8's candy shoot. Ryder, explain why we're all sheep and instead argue for, well, sheep. I'll have Kathy go first.
Oh, geez. Okay. This one I thought was just a really fun concept. And I mean, Top Model always, I think every cycle has had some sort of nude photo shoot. Correct me if I'm wrong. At least most of them have.
Most of them have, sure.
And it's always controversial because there's always at least one girl who's against it. And that obviously always an interesting dynamic. But I thought the styling on this was really fascinating. I loved the way they played with colors. It was very bright. It was vibrant. And there was really only a couple of weak photos in the bunch. Like, if you're going to talk results, I thought there were some really strong contenders in here. Even the ones that got critiqued at panel, I thought were still pretty good. And then we'll go back to, again, memorable moments for me. Like, somebody, I forget which model it was, but somebody's like, she looks like Kate Moss. And somebody's like, do you know who Kate Moss is? And it's just an epic eye roll.
I love it.
Like,
Oh my.
like, I could hear that eye roll in my head.
Drag
The person
her.
was a brunette. She looks like Kate Moss. No, she doesn't.
I agree that actually that one has terrific photos. Like, I think Cycle 8 has some really bad models in it, but there were awesome results for this photo shoot. I can't even explain it, but most of them looked terrific in this one. The styling was great, and I think some of those final, like, I can see the Britney photo right in my mind, the Jasleen photo right in my mind, Dion, JL, like they're up there in my like pantheon of top model photo shoots for sure. Ryder, talk to me about the sheep photo shoot for Cycle 14.
Great.
Great. I know you love the other one, so.
Right. I was like, I think I like Candy more now. Now that I look both of them. I think it's just for the shoot itself. It's a ridiculous idea just to shoot with like some. Okay, it's a sheep. It's kind of like ridiculous by itself. So like to shoot with it and make it look editorial, I think is a challenge in itself. So I think the models is great, and like the shot was set up pretty much like perfect, and there's some great photos in there, and the black dress that they used, amazing. But I think now I'm looking at it, I might just go for nude candy, just because it's. I don't know what rubric I was using, but I think for me, now that I looked at it, maybe nude candy should go forward.
I will say this, in terms of fashion shoots, there's no question the Cycle 14 shoot, way more fashion. It's beautiful. Right. Those results are stunning. Those could be in vogue. And I know that's like, people be like, girl, what are you talking about? But no, it's true. There are beautiful photos in that shoot. And if you want to talk about a cycle with some weak models, let me introduce you to Cycle 14, which was basically like, who have we not cast over the past 20 years of this show? Oh, you? Okay. Yeah. I mean, it is really the bottom of the barrel of those, and that's why they had the switch in Cycle 15 to the quote unquote high fashion, because they're like, we can sink no lower, we have to go in a different direction, because we had a bunch of bums in 14. That is the truth, especially with fucking Andre Leon Talley on the panel with this directitude. Like, come on. So I agree with you that 14, like, a terrible crop. That is easily that, and the other New Zealand shoot where it's the black and white one, and it's like the shadows are being cast from.
Oh my! That was so bad.
You didn't like that one?
I did not like that one.
Interesting.
At all.
I thought that one was so cool.
Well, let me say,
I think the concept was cool, but it was like, I think for me it was like badly executed.
Well, that's fine. I think Krista's photo, the eventual winner, her photo was stunning from that shoot.
Yeah, no, that was good.
But I really do think out of all the Cycle 14 photo shoots, this is the one. And I think it's fine to go. Well, actually, Bob, where are you? Are you with Candy or are you with the sheep?
I'm with Nude Candy. It's the one that sticks out in my mind more than the other. I think they're both terrific, but Nude Candy really, it has to take it because it has those quintessential top model components. So
Even Whitney, who could not model her way out of a paper bag, got a good shot in the Nude Candy shot. Like, that was amazing. That was an act of God right there. Thank you, Tyra. All right, so we are going to move ahead. Cycle 8's Nude Candy next. Ryder is again one of the last to receive his photo, as he is the sole defender of Cycle 2's nude paint body shoot, while the rest of the panel wants to keep playing with Cycle 6's doll shoot. Ryder, expose yourself and spray on the defense for nude body paint. I will show that I'm fully posable as I rep for Cycle 6's dolls, and let me go first here, Ryder, because I think I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to be honest with the panel here. I could very easily change my vote, because after looking at both sets of these photos kind of up against one another, I think there's a very strong case to be made for Cycle 2 going forward here. I think the problem is that it's up against a Cycle 6 shoot, and Cycle 6 is the darling of the franchise, and with very good reason, as we discussed earlier. I think part of the issue is that the dolls photo shoot is so uneven. Not even just like what the models do, but the concepts in it are uneven. Like, there are some really great ones that have terrific execution. Joni's ventriloquist dummy, rightfully first call out. Danielle's marionette right behind it. Ferranda's rag doll is one of like the definitive broken down doll photos of the entire top model franchise. I have no idea why Jade was B2 for her mannequin photo, because it's stunning. It's really good. Kim Cattrall could never serve like that. Unfortunately, you also have Brooke's terrible Barbie doll pic in which she looks nothing like a doll, Sarah's similarly untransformed fashion doll pic, and then Nena's baby doll, which is like the stuff of nightmares. It's like, this was the inspiration for Annabelle. Horrible. And so, like, you're talking basically 60% awesome and then 40% trash. And I think with the Cycle 2 shoots, it's much closer to like 90% awesome. Even for girls who can't model, they kill that one. So with that, Ryder, go for it. Talk about Cycle 2.
I think just Cycle 2, the new body paint was just very highly elaborated. I think they have to get there like super early. I think I remember that episode one of them overslept.
Yes. Shinasha, I think.
Shinasha, yeah.
Yeah. So like they get there super early. It's a full body paint. Like that takes a lot of effort. And like to model through that. And like I think the set was also maybe a little bit more cohesive as a concept, as a whole shoot, right? So you were saying for dolls, it's a little bit like uneven between the different shot of the models. I think for the new body paint is very cohesive in that way, and the photos are like the results is what is part of my rubric. So like I would definitely go for Cycle 2, just because of the portfolio as a whole is much stronger.
I think so, yeah. But I will take it to the vote. Kathy, where are you on this one?
I don't know. This one's tough, actually. I was really leaning towards dolls, but you've made a strong case for nude body paint. Quite honestly, nude body paint, I had to look it up. I was like, which cycle was this again? What photo shoot are we talking about? But looking at the photos, you're right. There's definitely some really strong ones in the bunch. I'm thinking April. I'm thinking Camille. Like, there are some really nice photos in there.
Yep.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there was, again, this is another nude shoot. So there was at least one person who was against it. I think it was it Anne?
No, I think it was Bethany.
Bethany.
I don't remember.
I think it was Bethany.
It was one of the girls who got eliminated, who I do not remember at all.
Yeah, like an early out.
Right. Because this was like, this is their first shoot too, wasn't it? Or their second shoot?
I think it was their first shoot, their first like official shoot. There may have been like a test shoot before it when they were doing casting. But yeah, it was like right off the bat.
Yeah. I don't know. And the dolls one for me, like the whole concept of, it's a plug for Pantene because dolls have perfect hair. Like that was weak at best.
You know what? I hope that the product placement supervisors on Top Model had a chiropractor on set, because the reaching that they had to do to get some of these things, like the connection between, like, let's not even discuss the secret. My secret is I like to sleep with the nightlight on.
Right?
It's so good. It's so terrible. I love it. Anyway, Bob,
Although
where are
that
you?
that also almost makes me want to vote for dolls, because that is so quintessential Top Model.
It is
just be so ridiculous. I'm going to stick with dolls.
Okay, thank you, because I was about to walk out the door of my studio here on this end, because I think you are all bonkers for talking about this body paint photo shoot being above the dolls. Because when I look at that, I think Kathy said it best. Like, what cycle was this again? What shoot was that? Oh yeah, that was pretty. We're talking about results with this one, certainly, right? It's what is your rubric? If results is your rubric, absolutely take it. This is the one. It is requiring minimal effort in this photo shoot from the actual model to deliver something. It is mostly the body paint that makes these interesting. And this is my opinion, but this is my opinion, but this is where I am with this is, yes, they're all beautiful. But when it comes to the dolls, you made the point, Eric, Nena is nightmare fuel. Yeah. And, Nena was given that assignment to see if she could actually do it. And she couldn't, right? It showed the weakness in Nena. And I think this is important. This is a competition series. And there are some beautiful photos. You have Joni, who just takes the cake with her ventriloquist dummy photo. It is so good. You actually need to put effort into, because these are lifeless dolls, and you actually have to still look like a doll, but put something into them to deliver a good photo. Not like Ferranda, who's laying limp on a chair, right? That doesn't work. You're not doing the assignment. This requires folks to do the assignment. And yes, there's ups and there's downs, but this is a photo shoot for Top Model, and that's what this is delivering. I'm sorry, I can't go with the body paint. I feel like I'm getting really passionate, angry about it, but it just doesn't make sense to me. To me, it's the body paint is doing most of the work, and that's where I am. And I mean, you have here's the thing: is it? I'll leave it at that. It's got big production value. It requires skill. I think that's where I will be. I will be with Cycle 6 dolls. And again, it's a lot of Cycle 6 love on this bracket, but that's where I am.
It's ironic because you each have what the other one needs to succeed. No, I'm just kidding. No, you actually, your argument was great. And I think your point that the body paint is what's doing 90% of the lifting in that photo shoot is actually quite accurate. But I do think overall the results are better. I'll stick with dolls, but Ryder, it was a close one, and I do not at all begrudge you voting for Cycle 2 here. I will say I think Cycle 2 got screwed in this bracket because Cycle 2 has some killer photo shoots. And I almost put it in mine. The sunglasses shot in Rome. Gorgeous. So the final 3 photo shots where they all did like avant-garde makeups and concepts, gorgeous. And I'll tell
that
you,
one almost made my list too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But for me, part of what took it away was the best photo shoots from Cycle 2 were in like the top 4, top 3s. And so when there's only 4 photos or 3 photos, I found it very hard to put it in front of others. That's such a stupid thing to say. If the photo shoot's good, the photo shoot's good. But like, was it great because there were only 3 models who killed it? 3 out of 3 killed it as opposed to 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? That's that. Just putting that out there. Cycle 2 is, I think, a very strong photo season in general. So sounds like we are advancing. Cycle 6 is dolls. Next, a unanimous decision in favor of Cycle 12's color face paint shoot, which proved too steep a challenge for Cycle 9's rock climbing shoot. And another unanimous victory, this time Cycle 3's diamonds and tarantulas, which scared up all the votes over Cycle 4's African safari animal shoot. Never forget that they dressed up poor weight battling Kenya as an elephant, people. That is Top Model, and we loved it. Finally, in round 1, the panel is evenly split between Cycle 5's country couture shoot and Cycle 11's pirate ship shoot. Bob, why is this country shoot no croc? Kathy, swab the deck and plunder the votes in favor of Cycle 11's pirates. I will have Bob go first.
Oh, so this is For me, both of these, it's kind of low stakes for me on both of these, and the one that I prefer more in this pairing is that Country Couture. I thought this was an interesting photo shoot because if I'm not mistaken, and you can call me crazy, they pitted models against one another. They each posed in the same outfit, right?
Yes, correct.
Was that this one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I want to make sure I'm looking at the right Country Couture photo shoot, right? I think, this was, to me, a very interesting one because of that we had two models posing in the same outfit in the same setting. And it really kind of gave you the opportunity to see who was great and who wasn't. I think there was some really terrific deliveries. I think Nick was the one with she had the top hat on, I think, right?
Gorgeous.
She had this really stunning photograph. Here I am in the results bucket here, folks,
yes.
right? Lisa was phenomenal in hers. Like, talk about delivering, right? She knew really how to deliver. I think Nicole did really well in this one as well. I think that this photo shoot stands out to me a little bit more for panel than anything else, because there was this James St. James, I think his name was I think was one of the people, and he has just these fabulous quotes from this photo shoot. It was like, she's going for Beyonce, but she's getting RuPaul. Come on. Like, oh God, if this is the best if this is the best she has, I'd hate to see the rest of the reel. like total bitch. So that makes it stand out to me as something that's a little bit more fun. The pirate ship, it doesn't stick out to me. I did rewatch it for this and, talk about putting girls in danger hanging off the side of a boat. And I think it delivered some really good photos. But I think the Country Couture one is a little bit more interesting because of that pitting them against one another. So I think it edges it just a little bit above.
Okay. I do think, thank you for bringing this up. The savagery of the panel is another, I think, quintessential America's Next Top Model moment. Yes, you got that as well in American Idol, Project Runway, etc., even Top Chef. But holy shit, there was some burns on the top model panel. I mean, Janice Dickinson was absolutely vicious to those girls. Noel Marin, he's terrible. He's the worst. But he had some pretty good digs. And then even lovely Paulina Porizkova with her you have a certain Eastern European tackiness about you.
Love it.
Such good read.
She also liked to say go and seize instead of go seize.
That's right.
Go seize. Go and seize.
We've done a poor job mentioning the other panel, not just Tyra, who is an icon, but the other panelists. There were some great moments in Top Model from that. Kathy, talk to us about pirate ships from Cycle 11.
This is hard because I might actually switch my vote. I'm not 100% sure why I advanced pirate ship, because it is a strong shoot. I think there were some really great shots. McKee's shot is incredible. There's no denying that. And even Sam's is really great.
Yep.
And I thought it was hilarious for Sheena being called out for basically being a hoe and not realizing that straddling a pole was lewd. She's totally oblivious.
Bless her.
But you're right. It's not a particularly memorable shoot now that I think back to it. Whereas Country Couture, I can picture Nick's photo clear as day in my head, Nicole's photo clear as day in my head, Lisa's photo clear as day in my head. Whereas the other one, I kind of have to think back, wait, what was that photo again? I'm not doing a very good job defending this.
That's okay. It's tough.
There are no losers here.
They're both good shoots. They're both great beautiful photos that came out of beautiful gowns. It's really a matter of personal preference here. Ryder, where are you?
Well, my personal preference would say pirate ship over Country Couture. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. I'm definitely sticking with Country Couture. I will say that. I do think, I agree. I'm surprised they didn't do the whole pitting models up against one another in the same outfits concept more, because it's such a great natural source of drama.
I think they might have done that not intentionally, but in All Stars 2, I think, when they're on stilts. They're basically wearing the same thing and in the same shot.
There's only one All Stars.
There's only one? Okay, then
There's
that
only
one.
one. Yeah.
The country couture also is where Lisa, the person she was paired against, she successfully got into that girl's head. I can't remember what her name was.
Ebony.
Like Ebony successfully got into her head, and Ebony went home that week.
Yeah. We stand a legend. But it's Thunderdome, baby, in the pages of Italian Vogue. No, I'm sticking with country couture here. I think in terms of like the legend of of Top Model as a franchise overall, country couture is one of those photo shoots gets brought up pretty often. I'm not sure that Pirate Ships has the same cachet. That could be because country couture is from that like golden age of Top Model, right? Between 3 and I would guess, I think I would say 8 is the last truly great season of Top Model. Although I love 10. I will always rep for 10. But I'm giving it to country couture. Kathy, if you're sticking with Pirate Ships, that means we are at a tie.
I'm going to jump off the pirate ship.
Okay. I will say that in a tie, because you are the Patreon sponsor, I would have given you Friday first tie breaking. But you're cool holding on to that until
I'm
next
okay
round?
With that. Yeah. And like I said, I do like both of these shoots. I do think they both produce some really great shots. So that's nothing against Pirate Ship. I just think as a concept, you're right. Country couture is a better concept.
All right. So that is it. We will move country couture onto round 2. And that is it for round 1, folks. We're going to take a quick break because I specifically requested that Ryder receive a Mia Farrow cut for his makeover. And this just isn't short enough. So back to the barber chair for you, Ryder, and no crying this time or you're off my set. We will be right back. Welcome back to round 2 of our Best America's Next Top Model photo shoot debate. We just finished shooting the music video for Tyra's smash hit song, Rock Ya Body. Before we get into round 2, I'd like my panelists to share how people can follow them on social media and make sure you work the phrase pot ledom into your pitch. Bob, why don't you go first?
So you can find me at DisNerdBob on most things. I am now on Mastodon. I'm on Hive, although I don't like it. I'm a Mastodon guy. You can find me on those old things as well, at DisNerdBob on all of them.
Thank you. Kathy, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Kathy Laluk. That's LALUK. Or over on Instagram, where I mostly post pictures of my cute kids and my cat at Kathy L. Kingsley, KINGSLEY.
The kids are very cute. And I do want to take this moment again to thank Kathy for sponsoring this episode as a top tier Patreon supporter. Kathy, why did you pick this topic? We actually didn't talk about this before.
I mean, in terms of pop culture, like this is kind of Top Model has always been my guilty pleasure, and I hadn't seen an episode and really wanted to talk about it. I could talk about Top Model all day. You know me, Eric. We used to kiki about this all the time.
We did. Kathy was my intern almost 15 years ago, so she knows where all of the bodies are buried. She helped me kill a couple of them. But yeah, I mean, we hadn't done an episode on Top Model, and I think it was a great choice. So thank you very much, Kathy, and thank you for being a Patreon supporter of the podcast, truly. If you are not a Patreon supporter, what are you waiting for? All of our top level sponsorships are booked at this point, but you can still join us and suggest topics for us to cover in the future. You get access to our Discord chat with the panelists, where, Kathy, are you involved in that at all from time to time?
I am. I don't check it as often as I should.
It can be overwhelming because we talk on it a lot, but we talk about everything going on in TV and music and movies, and we're constantly bloop, 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 so it's good fun.
I do love catching up every once in a while. Just like, I'm just going to scroll through all of this.
Sure, it's a lot, yeah. Ryder, where can people follow you?
Hi, you can follow me on Instagram at Ryder.Nguyen. And Nguyen is spelled Nguyen. I just post picture of my bakes on there, and if I feel inspired, I'll be in drag, and there'll be pictures of me on there as well.
He's a Top Model girl. He's an a Great British Bake Off girl. He's a Drag Race girl. He's all over these reality competitions. So we're delighted to have you with us.
And follow.
Right, exactly. And for me, you should definitely follow at Great Pop Culture Debate on Instagram and TikTok, and at GPCD. Do I have to say eric.mass.toe.
You're good. At GPCD.
Okay, on Mastodon and Hive, and at culture_debate on Twitter, which we will eventually be sunsetting because Elon Musk carved a slur into our brownies. But feel free to follow at Eric Rezsnyak on Instagram as well. So moving on to round 2 of the debates. First up, it's Cycle 1's snake photo shoot, which currently has a 3-1 advantage over Cycle 11's Fierce Eyes. Ryder, peep this challenge and try to maintain the gaze of Fierce Eyes' staring contest. I will speak parcel tongue in defense of C1's snake shoot. Ryder, do you want to go and talk about Fierce Eyes, or do you feel like we've exhausted the argument already?
I feel like we might have exhausted it already. I didn't expect Fierce Eyes to be going against snakes, honestly, because I would push snakes forward. But again, Fierce Eyes, very quintessential America's Next Top Model, and that's what you learn from it. You're supposed to smile.
I'm happy to talk on it.
Yeah, go for it.
Talk about it if you want to.
Yeah, like I think both of these are similar in the fact that they are close-up shots, but I think that this, when it comes to the Fierce Eyes, and we talked about this, and I talked about it in round 1, or in our first round, that these close-up shots, these close-up shoots are so integral to Top Model because it really shows and requires a lot of work because it's just you and a camera, right? And I think the Fierce Eyes ones brings us the smizing and shows us what smizing can be and how creative can you get as a model to overcompensate for the fact that half your body's missing, right? So I think it has a very interesting tale to tell. Although I'm going to push snakes forward, I think Fierce Eyes is just that. As I said in round 1, it's fierce. It's an incredible feat of all of these models to really deliver. But that being said, Eric, take it away. Snakes.
So we didn't talk about snakes in round 1. It was a unanimous victory. And I'm so excited to talk about here because it is one of my all-time favorite Top Model moments. I did not watch this live. I didn't start watching the show live until Cycle 4, but I went back. Who remembers the glory days of you'd put on VH1 on a weekend and they'd have Top Model marathons and you would just spend the entirety of a weekend just watching seasons of Top Model you'd already seen 4 times, but it didn't matter. You just keep watching. So overall, there are some absolutely stunning photos to come out of this shoot, which is amazing because it is the 3rd episode of the entire Top Model show. Like literally, it's episode 3, season 1. Elise, Shannon, Ebony, Adrienne, arguably even Giselle give us memorable photos that 20 years later still look incredible. But what really makes this photo stand out to me is the danger that they all experienced having to pose with a live snake plus this very cool avant-garde makeup applications that they were all given. And what that then inspired in the incredible monologue by Robin as she's approached by the snake and then discusses what the experience was like for her. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to provide a reading from the Book of Robin. I wear snakeskin boots, but I don't have to see it and feel it and ooh, get it. I had to call on Jesus. I don't know how many times. Ooh, Jesus. Ooh, he came up over my arm. The end product is glamorous, but what it takes to get to that place is not glamorous. And scene. And then finally this last bon mot from Adrienne, who is a total garbage person now. Let me just be very clear about that, but was genuinely funny on the show. Quote, "They called my makeup the Mask of Zorro and it was purple. It was cool. I look like the Hamburglar." Ladies and gentlemen, that's amazing. So that's what I have to say about snakes. Kathy, where are you on this one?
Oh, hands down snakes. I think some of those photos are, you're right, they definitely still hold up. And for being the 3rd episode of this entire franchise, that's impressive. But yeah, the clips of Robin, just those live rent-free in my head for no reason other than it's just incredible.
Ooh, Jesus. I still to this day say I had to call on Jesus I don't know how many times. Like to this day. Ryder, where are you? Are you sticking with Fierce Eyes?
I'm going to switch to snakes.
And Bob, are you on Team Snakes?
I'm with Team Snakes.
All right, it's unanimous. We'll be moving that forward. Next, it's Cycle 8's nude candy shoot, which is proving a sticky situation for Cycle 7's Circus Freaks. Kathy, explain why you're buying in bulk for Cycle 8's dishy candy shots. Bob, explain why Circus Freaks deserves more than just peanuts. I'll have Bob go first.
So, yeah, I had said a lot about Circus Freaks in the first round. I have a little bit more to say now. I think this is one. I think they're both similar because they have a high production value to them. There's the sets, there's like the makeup and all of, everything that goes on around. And I think that they both have that similar and in common. I think Circus Freaks is a little bit more sophisticated in its lighting, in the way that the shots are executed, in the sets that they build. I think that the candy is pretty much the same set for all of the models. And as I was reviewing the photos again, like the candy shoot looks messy and sloppy, and I get there's like that, ice cream's melting here, and candy's messy, but it looks very messy and not polished to me. Whereas I think that the photo shoot for Circus Freaks is a little bit more sophisticated in that way, and I think it delivered really some stunning and very interesting photos. And for me, it was one of the best photos from the whole cycle was Carrie D straddling that the hood of that truck, right, with that elephant nose or whatever that she had on, and she was overcoming plaque psoriasis to deliver that photo to you. And I thought my argument was going to be just a very simple argument today, and that was Meg's photo. That's my whole argument.
Oh, poor Meg.
Oh, Meg.
I said it in the first round. Like they were preying on every insecurity that they could for these girls, which was so quintessential Tyra and so quintessential top model. Melrose had this just complex for the whole season about looking old and being old, and they made her be the old woman in the photo shoot. Anshul, so hot right now. Anshul. So she was the big woman. And I shouldn't laugh about it because it's terrible. It is so problematic, but I'm laughing about it for how absurd it is that we accepted this, first of all, and just how crazy this show could be. And I have one more thing to throw out there, and I might be throwing this out too early in case this does go through, but this photo shoot involved a Tootsa Rubenstein from 17 magazine. Jigsaw herself was on the set with Mike Rosenthal, who is my boyfriend. So hot, Mike Rosenthal. Oh my God. Gorgeous. I'll leave it there for now.
It was really a cast of characters.
Meg!
Oh, poor Meg.
I think people need to understand that when Bob and I were watching the season live, that photo of Meg is the period
falling out of a chair. I've never fallen out of a chair. I could not. It is a photo that I would just randomly text to people. just like, here's this. I just leave this here. It's so bad. So they describe it. It's like it's as if it was the first shot in the whole roll. It's like, this is the test shot, and they used it as her main photo.
Which they would absolutely do that to poor girls. They would railroad them. Like they would totally choose what was not their best photo. If they wanted them to go home, like it's widely known. Like they would it's your turn to go, goodbye. They do the same thing on all the reality competitions. It's not strictly top model. But that fucking photo, they used to say like UV's Pisces photo from Cycle 4 was the worst photo in top model history. To me, the bearded Lady Meg photo is the worst. It is comically bad. That is another possible episode at some point down the line. Worst top model photo, because there are some real humdingers in there. But I'm going to turn it over to Kathy to talk about. Do you want to say anything else about nude candy at this point?
Oh, no. Excuse me. I think for me, it definitely had stronger photos overall, and it was really vibrant and colorful, which we talked about in round one. But you're right. I do think there was some the Meg photo. I completely forgot about that, and I don't know how. But oh man, the circus. They're both great. They're both great photo shoots. I think. I could kind of go either way on this one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Circus Freaks was shot outside.
It was.
The candy shoot was definitely inside. So
Yeah, that was on a set.
yeah, Circus Freaks has, in my opinion, a little bit lower. It's not as overproduced as the candy shoot. But, it's really, six of one, half dozen of the other. Ryder, where are you?
Even though I didn't push Circus Freaks forward last round, but I'm going to vote for it this round.
Yeah, I think that there are some really terrific shots in Cycle 8's nude candy show. There really are. The Britney photo it's incredible. But I think for the sheer hilariousness of the results, I'm giving it to Circus Freaks. I don't think the photos are as strong, but it was like literally like one of the best examples of psychological torment. Like the CIA should investigate what was going on behind the scenes, because they were breaking these girls with this photo shoot. And I believe this was the beginning of like AJ's descent into madness. Am I wrong? Because she was the wild girl, and like it was 2 episodes later and she was gone after excelling the whole season up to that point. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but we will move forward. The Cycle 7 Circus Freaks shot. Next, it's Cycle 6's Dolls versus Cycle 12's Color Face Paint. Kathy, explain why you still want to play with dolls. While I get blown in the face, usually I get a warning before that happens. For Cycle 12 and the Color Wheel, Kathy, do you want to talk about the dolls anymore?
Yeah, I can talk about dolls. This is actually more a vote kind of against the color face paint than for dolls necessarily. I still think dolls is a strong concept as a photo shoot, and I think it really did produce some great photos. We've talked about Danielle's and Joni's for sure, and even for Rhonda. Like, that is the definition of ragdoll. Like, that just sticks to my brain. But the face paint, color face paint from Cycle 12 doesn't really stick out to me as a memorable photo shoot. Like, I can't picture any of I take it back. I can picture Foe's picture in my head, but other than that, none of them are coming to mind. It's just not memorable to me.
That's interesting. So first of all, let me comment on something. Foe was paid dust. No pun intended, given the color thing. That entire cycle, Foe has gone on to have a very successful modeling career. I see her in commercials constantly, and her photo was incredible in that one. Like, it sticks out to me. She was red, I believe, and like even now, not even looking at this in years, like I can still. Allison's was also very good. I think even Talia, who, let's just say, struggled in that cycle, took a very good photo with this. Again, it was all the face shots, right? It was the portraits, and it was kind of a remix on the theme that they did with Cycle 10's paint splatter on the face, or if you will, Technicolor bukkake. This, I think, is a more elegant version of that. And the ones that stick out to me, I think it was a love it or hate it shot with the white and, oh God, I'm blanking on her name. Celia. I loved her. It was striking. I'm not sure it was necessarily pretty, and it certainly aged her up, which again was her huge like mental thing. And then Sandra, who preseason I pegged to go all the way. I thought she was one of the most beautiful women I'd ever seen. Awful photo, like really, truly awful photo.
Wasn't that when Tyra wanted her to be face on because she had always done like profile, and that's why that
is correct. Yeah,
that's correct. She pushed her to do face on, and she couldn't. And it sucked because again, like what a beautiful woman just standing there, just stunning. But what do they used to say? You are the model, the noun, but not model the verb, and that was exactly the issue. I think Cycle 12, it's one of my least favorite cycles overall. I think it gets very ugly, and I don't even think that most of the girls that make it to the end, besides Allison, are all that. It was hard to root for them, let me put it that way. Actually, Amina, I take back. Amina has also been a very successful model, and she had a pretty solid shot in this one too. But I think overall, the photos actually are more successful than the dolls, which again have some highs and then some real lows. So, Bob, where are you going?
I love both of these. Of course, I love dolls. It's my season 6, favorite, right? So I'm definitely pushing that forward. But I also, enjoy, I think, pushing dolls forward over face paint will be I think I like what it does for our final four. So there's a little bit of that playing there as well. So
the long game, if you will. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have Ryder, did you vote yet?
I'm going to vote for dolls.
Okay, so that's 3 for dolls, 1 for color face paint. Dolls moves forward. Finally, in round 2, Cycle 3's Diamonds and Tarantulas shoot has spun a deadly web, and yes, I know tarantulas don't spin webs. Let me be. For Cycle 5's Country Couture shoot. And that is it. Before we get to those final 4 matchups, we're going to take another quick break while we force Yaya to apologize for being disrespectful to a hat. We'll be right back. And we are back for the grand finale of our best ANTM photo shoot debate. During the break, we went on go-sees in China, and Bob got lost, so we may never see him again.
Oh, it was the worst go-see ever. I didn't get any free clothes.
Oh, so, okay, now let's get ready for our inevitably hideous CoverGirl photo shoots for some bullshit fruit-flavored products. Oh, look, it's Aunt Choquette. Okay, our final 4 is Cycle 1 Snakes versus Cycle 7 Circus Freaks, and Cycle 6's Dolls versus Cycle 3's Tarantulas. While we were on break, Kathy remarked, literally Cycle 7 is the last one that we have here, and there were 17 more cycles of this show. Why do we think that is? Kathy, any thoughts?
I mean, at least for me, I came in watching Top Model at Cycle 4, so I always have a soft spot for kind of those, I don't know if I want to call them middle seasons, but Cycle 4 through Cycle 8 are the ones that I go back and rewatch. Those are the ones I like. Those are the ones where I find the contestants interesting and the photos interesting. I just think they're stronger seasons. There are definitely some ones later on that are good too, but those are they're kind of my comfort seasons.
Yeah, and I think that's true for many reality shows that kind of peaked around that time. You could say the same for Project Runway, American Idol, Drag Race, possibly. Although Drag Race, while seasons 3 through 6 are considered the golden years, it's still wildly popular, and these other shows are not. Most of them are their last legs if they exist at all.
I think, too, when you think about reality series and across even things like Survivor and any reality competition series like this, I think there's this element of, at the time, they were just starting to hit a stride, and they were still also trying to figure things out as they went as well. There was kind of a building the plane as it was flying for some of those seasons. And I think you felt as though you were part of that too, watching it, and you were along for that ride to the point of where it starts to become formulaic. Whereas RuPaul's Drag Race is still turning out pretty good seasons, but it's pretty formulaic in what they're doing. And you can pretty much count on, okay, well, they're down to 6 girls or they're down to 8 girls. It's going to be Snatch Game. There's that cadence to them. So I think that's why I think some of those earlier seasons and those kind of thick of it seasons back then really stand out, is because I think there's some of that feeling to it that you're actually part of it with them. Yeah. I don't know if that's crazy, but
I don't think so. Ryder, do you have any sense? Did you watch all the seasons, Ryder? Did you watch all the way up to the VH1 years?
Well, so my very first season was season 7. So I have, again, soft spot for Carrie D in general. But yeah, I think I kind of agree, maybe it's just peak during those middle season. And after that, I think it just lost kind of the magic of what the show is. I think for the later season, I still watch it, but mostly for the model. If I just like one model, I'll watch it. But then if I don't like any of them, I just don't do that.
I remember distinctly watching Cycle 9 as it was airing and being the shark has been jumped. It felt like it lost magic. It felt cheaper somehow. And there were some good seasons between then. I still think 10's a great season. I think the shorty season, 13, is actually really good. The second high fashion season, 16, is pretty strong. I didn't care. As I mentioned, 15 is Anne and Friends. All Stars, absolute garbage. And then I do think the Nile season with Guys and Girls was pretty solid. I watched both of those VH1 seasons, and I just thought, I was just someone please put this out of its misery. It's just terrible. And they were trying so desperately to appeal to the teen youth market. And even saying that, I feel like a geriatric, but like it wasn't hitting. None of it was working. Ugh. So let's just remember the good times and let's go to this final four of cycle 1 through cycle 7. So with that, it's cycle 1 snakes versus cycle 7 circus freaks. I'm going to go around the horn and start with our sponsor, Kathy. Where are you on this one?
I'm hands down snakes on this one. I think the photos are stronger. I think, again, the just Robin's reaction to the whole thing is just so quintessential top model. And once again, Tyra psychologically torturing the girls. So it's the trifecta of everything we love about top model photo shoots.
It's true. It's true. Ryder, where are you on this?
Even though I love season 7, I think I have to go for snakes just because of how great the production was for that episode in general. And then that photo shoot was amazing. And a lot of people, when they think about America's Next Top Model, they always thinking about the snakes and not the circus freaks. So snakes.
That Shannon shot was in the opening credits up through, I want to say, at least cycle 6, if not later. Like, it was there for a long, and she didn't even win the show.
She wasn't even win.
So, although I think Tyra wished if she could go back in time, she probably would. She could have given it to Shannon over Adrienne. Bob, where are you on this?
Well, I've had my fun. We'll pour one out for Meg. But Snakes is the photo shoot that it's in cycle 1. It's only that 3rd episode, but it showed you all the possibilities of America's Next Top Model going forward. It showed you exactly what the show was going to be, putting them in danger and psychologically tormenting them. Love it. We're going to move snakes forward.
Yes, we are, because I'm definitely moving snakes forward too. And then finally, it's cycle 6's dolls versus cycle 3's tarantulas and diamonds. Let's start reverse. Ryder, where are you on this one?
I'm going to vote for the tarantulas. Shoot.
Okay. We actually didn't talk about tarantulas at all. Does anybody want to speak on tarantulas? Well, should we go through, get your votes first, and then we can talk about it?
Sure.
Kathy, where are you on this one?
Hands down, tarantulas on this. Dolls is great, but tarantulas for me is just, again, I love the psychological torture. Is that weird to say? Is that bad?
It was a critical component of the show, and now it gets a lot of press. Like literally every couple months, a new story is like X top model contestant comes forward with their story about how the show, abused them and took advantage. Like I saw some tweet that was just like, if I was Tyra Banks, I would live in fear every day of the inevitable Netflix or Hulu documentary series that will come out about what went on in this show, which I think is true. But my counterpoint to that is that was happening at every reality show. They were all super abusive, and abusive is probably too strong a word. They were...
No, but I mean, they know what they're signing up for. Like, heck, Survivor or Fear Factor, any of those shows back in the day were like, they're all psychologically abusive.
Exploitative. And I think
that's a better word.
Part of it also is that it was all women, and that is part of it. But like, look at the flavor of love shows.
Oh, God.
You want to talk about exploitative and abusive. How is that never discussed? But people keep going after Tyra. I wonder if it has something to do with the fact I don't know, she's a woman. And here's my soapbox moment. But I genuinely think that is part of it. She gets a lot of shit that other people don't because she was a woman in power. So anyway, soapbox. Where was the soapbox photo shoot, Tyra? So Kathy, tarantulas. Bob,
another tough one because I love cycle 6 so much. I think tarantulas. I could potentially be moved over to tarantulas, although that puts snakes and tarantulas in our final two, which I find which is very interesting. And I think there's this fun little moment in the tarantulas episode where Tokara says, "I'm wearing John Paul Gaultier." It's kind of funny to think about. I can be swayed either way. I just think Dolls is kind of a moment for me of a really great photo shoot in a really great season of a season that it was really hitting its stride, and I think it's representative of the season overall. And I think Tarantulas is season 3 is great, or excuse me, cycle 3 is great. Tarantulas is within cycle 3, but to me, there are a few of the top 5, top 3, whatever of cycle 6 that really deliver in that dolls photo shoot that represents it for me. So I want to push dolls forward. I don't think I'll win, but I don't
think I'm going to switch my vote, but I will say I think dolls has stronger photos overall looking at the spread of all of these. Like there are, I would say 2, maybe 3 really strong photos from the Tarantulas photo shoot, whereas dolls, there were 4 or 5 that were pretty good.
See, that's so interesting.
Like Eric,
except for Nenna.
Oh gosh, that was terrible.
I don't think that there was a bad shot in Tarantulas. I thought all the Tarantula shots were good. In fact, if I remember, and again, the top model historians at home were like, no, girl. Doesn't Tokara go home on that shoot?
She goes home on the shoot.
It's beautiful. It is a gorgeous shot.
That's the Yaya Had episode, right?
It's the Yaya Had episode. And like everything Bob was just saying about cycle 6 and you know, how there's, you know, lots of great photo shoots. I think the same thing could be said for 3. We actually haven't talked at all about 3. And in my opinion, it's 3 and 6 as the top overall seasons of this show, and there are incredible photo shoots all throughout cycle 3. You had the Nokia phone geisha suit, which again, problematic, but really beautiful photos. You had the Harajuku motorcycle shot. There are great shots that weren't in Japan. There was I thought the swimwear shoot that they do is like the test shoot. Stunning photos came out of that. I miss the disco roller skate shoot. Amazing. Like there are great shoots that come out of cycle 3, as many as there were with cycle 6. So I think they're almost on an even keel. And in my opinion, dolls only advanced to this point because it's from cycle 6. And there were other cycle 6 shoots that were very, very good that could have been here too. Mermaids, elephants, what am I forgetting? Falling princesses,
it's a great cycle. My God.
The crumping photo shoot.
The careers photo shoot. Like there were terrific photo shoots across the board in both of those cycles.
The Ace World Twins.
Cycle
6.
They weren't they were the guest judges on that episode, but they weren't a photo shoot. They were a mini challenge. Which by the way, Jade won. Clap for leftover ladies.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
That's how you do it.
So I'm going to put it. So are you sticking with Tarantulas, Ryder?
Yes.
Kathy?
I'm going to stick with Tarantulas, yeah.
Bob, have you been swayed?
No, I'm going to stick with dolls. I'm going to stick to my guns.
That's fine. Because
I'm going to lose.
if only they had a G.I. Jane, so you could stick to your dolls, to your guns. I'm pushing forward Tarantulas, which gives us a final 2 of Cycle 1 Snakes versus Cycle 3's Tarantulas. Women, nude and peril.
Not girls.
Desperately fighting for their lives and trying to take beautiful photos. This is what Tyra Banks has given us, and I'm so thankful for it. I really do love this show. Around the horn, I'm going to start with our sponsor, Kathy. Where are you voting?
Oof, this is tough because I don't think we haven't talked really too much about tarantulas. I know we just did a little bit, but this is when Eva, because she was like deathly afraid of tarantulas. She is the Robin of the snakes photo shoot. That's the equal on the cycle 3 photo shoot for me.
Yeah.
But like I think that like the woman comes out with like the animal handler or whatever comes out and she's like, "Are we posing with her or the spider?" I'm just like, "Oh, girl, you wish." I am going to advance snakes on this one. It just like I can see. I think all of those photos. I don't think there's a weak one in the bunch. Like even I think it was Nicole who
went home.
Do not remember her. She went home on that shoot, and even her photo's not bad. Like it's not great. It's not as good as the other ones, but it's not awful.
Cassie's is pretty rough.
Yeah, hers is she's very vacant in that photo. But other than that, like they're all, Shannon's is really strong. And Adrian is really strong. And even Robin's, for all the drama,
it's not
pretty
bad.
good. And Giselle's and Ebony's, I think to me, those look like National Geographic-y, which I really dig.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm going to stick with snakes on this one.
All right, Ryder, where are you?
I'm still deciding. At the moment, I'm still looking at the both of them. Though I have to say, like for snakes, I think the one that I love the most is probably Elise. This is
beautiful.
something about
right,
it.
I forgot
It's
about Elise.
Very, very strong.
Yeah.
And then for tarantulas, I think Eva did amazing, regardless of her fear. I'm still deciding, so come back to me.
Okay, that's fine. Bob, where are you?
So I enjoy representation, and cycle 3 has Amanda and her retinitis pigmentosa.
It does.
And I think this is important. We had Carrie D in cycle 6.
7.
Cycle 7, excuse me. I'm going to give it to snakes over this because I think snakes is lightning in a bottle and tarantulas tried to recreate that. I think that tarantulas is a great shoot. I think it's awesome, but it doesn't give me save me Jesus moments. Like it just doesn't deliver that level of reality show entertainment. It just doesn't. I think they tried or wanted it to. I think some of the girls did a terrific job. I think Eva's the one that did the best job of just plowing through the fact that she was terrified to have the spider on her in the first place, and she still delivered a stunning photograph. But come on, the snakes is the OG. It is the lightning in a bottle. It is the save me Jesus moment.
I think it also has levels, whereas tarantulas, like there's variety in the snake shoot in a way that the tarantulas were a little bit samey. And you're correct. Like they were trying to replicate not only the snake shoot with dangerous animal on my body, but also later in cycle 1, they did the diamond nude shoot where the women were like slicked up with oil when they were in Paris. And I felt like it was like combining A and B to try to get C. And I don't know, is it quite succeeded there? Whereas I can't think of another high fashion makeup photo shoot that comes close to being as successful as the very best shots from one. That's just my personal opinion. Ryder, where did you decide?
I think I'm going to give it to snakes just for the fact that you were saying that has a little bit more variety, even though it's still cohesive as a concept. And that's what tarantula is lacking, I think.
Yeah. Beautiful photos. Just it's a little samey. So there you have it, folks. Our pick for the Best America's Next Top Model photo shoot is Cycle 1 Snakes. Do you agree with our choice? Do you think we are a stank hoe who poured beer in your weave? Let us know your pick by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or yell at us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Mastodon, Hive, I don't know, Fire Signals, whatever. While you're there, make sure that you like and subscribe for more Great Pop Culture Debate content. And if you really like what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, which can get you access to more exclusive episodes, merch, and the ability to suggest episodes for us to do in the future. Thank you to my panelists. Even though you fell off the final runway twice, I would still hang you in my salon. And thank you in particular to Patreon Kathy for sponsoring this episode. And thank you all for listening. Our top tier Patreon sponsorships are all snapped up, but you can still get tons of great perks by subscribing at patreon.com/greatpopculturedebate.com. Until next time, remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinions. Brasilia!